Well, hey guys, welcome. My name is Jared Frost. I'm not sure if he's on top or below me, but Matt Gallegos up there in that Hawaiian-looking amazing golf shirt is my operating partner at Blue Pebble Homes. We're joined by Dave Frankel, who's an LO with Proper Rate, affiliated with Guaranteed Rate. If you guys aren't familiar with the Proper Rate business, they're absolutely spectacular, and Dave has been awesome in helping us get this set up. Today, Matt and I are going to be sharing a little bit about our system in terms of how to win with buyers. We're going to tell you just a little bit about us because we're not the most important people here. You guys are, and kind of what we've done over the last few years that we think is a system that works pretty well. If you guys have questions, feel free to raise your hand. We've got a Q&A window, so feel free to throw any questions you want in that Q&A window as well. Like I said, the goal here is to spend about 15-20 minutes talking through just a few slides that we prepared, and then leave the rest of the time open for questions, open discussion, whatever else you guys want to talk about. So thank you all for attending. We really appreciate it. This is actually the first one we've done, so if you have any feedback, we'd love to get it. And we're looking forward to making this more into like a monthly series going forward. So with that, and now of course my presentation isn't working. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about today how do you make more business in the buyer business? Well, making more business in buyers is actually about three things that we've identified, which is frankly closing more deals. So if you keep your average commission rate the same, the way you make more money is by closing more deals with the same amount of resources. If for whatever reason you don't want to close more deals and you just want to make more money per deal, that's another way to make your business more profitable. So we're going to talk about ways of creating leverage and increasing profitability on each individual transaction that you guys do with your buyers, which is something that not a lot of people pay attention to. And then lastly, we're going to talk about a referral system, which basically allows you to spend less time working. So the theory there is that if you can spend less time working on your buyers, then you'll have more time to do more business and make more money. So this is all about using your limited resources to make more money and close more deals. So the question is, who are we and why am I here? And my name is Jared Frost. Just as a heads up, I've been in this business since 2016. Prior to that, I was in real estate private equity and Wall Street derivatives trading. So I come at this from very much a slightly different perspective than most realtors. We started Blue Pebble about 6 years ago, and since then we've closed over 200 transactions. As of last month, we crossed the $100 million closed mark, which is a really good benchmark for us. Matt Gallegos is a partner on my team. He basically runs our brokerage division and works one-on-one with all of our agents. And Dave Frankel is one of our lending partners, a relatively new one and an awesome one. We've known Guaranteed and Proper Rate for a really long time, and Dave is a new member of their team. So we welcome Dave and thank him again for all of his support in getting this put together. I will say at the onset, we're going to talk about a referral system, and we wouldn't be here today if I didn't partner up with an LO at the very beginning. So if you guys don't have an LO that you're working with, I highly, highly suggest that you reach out to Dave and talk about partnerships that you can create between loan officers and realtors. You might need to have a couple of them in your stable, and that's totally cool. I would highly suggest that you have Dave as one of them. Reach out to him and he can definitely help you with your business, and he'll have some more to say about that going forward. So, all right, cool. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is just closing more buyers. And so the question is, how do we do that? Because I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this, but right now days on market is skyrocketing. That's gone from like 4 to 40. And so right now at the end of the day, not as many deals are getting done because it's taking longer to get deals going. Whether it's buyers being concerned about, buying at the top of the market, or, for whatever reason, sellers haven't quite appropriately, adjusted their expectations lower in pricing yet. For whatever reason, deals are just taking longer to get done. And so as a result, we need to make sure that we're really engaging with our marketing. And one of the ways to do that is really engaging with your database. So as I mentioned, we've closed over $100 million of deals in the last 6 years, and about 80% of that business has come from our Sphere and past client SOI database. So one of the things that we do very well, and it allows us to keep our business extremely profitable because we don't spend a lot of money doing this, is we engage with our database on what we would call our Blue Pebble marketing system. So if you guys aren't, we are affiliated with Keller Williams. If you're not familiar with Keller, they are known for their kind of 36 touch marketing scheme. And we've actually taken that to another level. So if you're in our database and we have all your contact information, you're actually going to get something close to 54 or 58 touches from our team. And I'm going to take you through that. And one of the things that allows us to do is really stay front of mind with our database. So whenever someone has a question, whether it's about real estate or frankly, even general business referrals, because we've kind of put ourselves in that network, we've been able to do that. So just as a recap of what we do, we send 24 emails to our database every single year. One of those emails is just a very simple market research piece. I actually write that myself. If you guys aren't comfortable writing it yourselves, There are some great title companies that have some amazing research that you can kind of just write a quick little blurb. One of the mistakes I think most agents make is they actually copy and paste this title company information instead of just like reading it themselves, coming up with something interesting to say, and then giving it to your database in a way that they can actually digest the information and connect with you about it. So I think Megan Aller is an amazing title rep. If you guys don't know Megan, we're happy to connect you with her. She does provide some amazing stats. I can't tell you how many realtors I'm on their distributions and I see these like the same image go out, right? So if you assume that your database people are on multiple realtors databases or email distributions, they're going to get 3 emails from 3 different realtors, the same graphic and the same stats, right? Is that a good way to differentiate yourself? Probably not. So that doesn't mean that like you can't do that. It just means that you want to take the information, you want to understand what that information is, and then you want to write up a nice little paragraph so that you seem like the expert, not Megan Aller, the title rep, right? You don't want to be a broker of information. You want to be the source. So we do that 12 times a year. We also send out another 12 emails around things to do, like around town, dog parks, ice cream shops, whatever. One of the other things we've done is we create a small business database. We can actually create an entire new webinar just on creating a small business database. So just for example, like let's say you have a friend who is, I don't know, they're a baker, right? And they make these most amazing cupcakes. Like, wouldn't it be great way to interact with your database if you could go to your friend and say, hey, look, if someone shows up with this email, give them a free cupcake, charge me, it costs you $2, but you get to give a gift to your database, right? If you can come up with those specials and ways of engaging with your database and helping people out, it helps you, connect with your sphere and get more referrals. Additionally, one of the things that a lot of people skip on as well are the parties. And that's absolutely something that you should not be skimping on because people like an excuse to go out and have fun. So at the end of the day, even if they don't show up, having 4 parties allows you to call your database 4 times a year and not sound like a robot, right? So one of the biggest issues whenever your database calling is like, well, what do I say? I talked to Tony 3 months ago. He told me he wasn't going to buy, and I have no idea what to do or how to call Tony and get a referral. Well, it's really easy to call Tony and say, hey, Tony, it's been 6 months since we talked. Why don't you come down to our happy hour? We'd love to have you. We're going to be hosting at Rhino Beer Garden next week. And we just absolutely love to see you, right? Whether or not Tony shows up, you still made the call or you're still front of mind, and that goes in with a great way of just building a connection, building a relationship without asking for referrals directly. The last thing that we're doing to close more buyers, this is physically just get more deals done, get more referrals, is create a real estate network. So this is extremely important because most real estate deals are done in what's called a business to consumer manner. So if you guys don't know what that means, a B2C sales, that means when a salesman is talking to the direct prospect, to the customer directly, right? So typically that would be known as like the least efficient amount of sales, right? Because like if you make 1 phone call, that means you might get 1 lead because you're talking to the customer. A more efficient way of doing sales is actually called business to business or B2B sales. Because if you do B2B sales, what'll happen is if you call 1 person, they might be able to refer you to all of their clients, and that could be multiple people at the same time. So within your real estate network, you need to have other business professionals, other real estate professionals, like a great lender like Dave, like a title rep like Megan, like a financial advisor, like a trust and estate attorney, like a family attorney, like anyone who just deals with real estate, because you guys are all kind of dealing with similar problems when real estate comes up. And if you're all dealing with the same problems and you're all working together, there's a really easy way for you guys to share referrals if you're all going out hunting for the same things together. Right? So if we're looking to increase our referrals, build a network of people who are all hunting for the same deals that you are, and that's going to be a really good way of getting more leads. So at the end of the day, you're going to generate more business by engaging with your database. You're going to do that when you get at least 36 touches. For our system, we do it at least 50 times a year if we have all your information. That's name, email, phone number, mailing address. And in addition to all of that, from our B2C network, we also would build a B2B network with great people like Dave. And we get referrals from, title reps, from lenders, from other people. And that's a really good way to get more deals done. So, Matt, do you have anything to add to that in terms of how you're working with buyers or what we're doing with our teammates to be more efficient right now?
No, but look, when I first started out, the biggest thing was that catch where, what am I going to talk to these people about? They've already told me no 1,000 times. And that really kind of helped to the success that I've had since starting with Blue Pebble Homes. So it does speak volumes for me, and it gives me an out to just be able to be like, well, just come on out. Let's just hang out. So, and then you feel a little more friendlier than feeling like a salesman.
Totally. Well, I appreciate that, Matt. All right, cool. So Dave, I'm going to love your feedback here, and I'm putting you on the spot because I didn't cue you up for this one, but I have a feeling you can talk about this all the time. So one of the other ways you're going to make more money in your buyer business is by making more money per deal, right? So like if you're capped out because you can't necessarily go into a higher market price point just because know rich people, then you got to be more efficient with the deals that you already have. One of the best ways to do that is pre-qualify clients. So we do that. There are two ways to pre-qualify clients. I would say you need to pre-qualify them from a real estate perspective, and you need to pre-qualify them from a financing perspective. So from a real estate perspective, what we do is we have a Google Doc, and we basically just send it out to any new lead and say, hey, look, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you want to do. And then from there, it keeps the information super organized so that Matt or anyone else on our team can go through and be like, okay, is this something that I can physically help my client do? Right? Because like how many times have you gone down the road with a client and you realize that what they actually want doesn't exist? And you've now wasted 6 months of your time because you weren't organized in how you flushed out what they were looking for. And if you had a pre-qualification sheet on the very beginning, you could say like, oh yeah, well, Jared, I'm looking in Cherry Creek and I need 5,000 square feet. And, my budget's like 400 grand. Like, I can do that, right? You're like, no, dude, I'm not going to waste all that time with you, right? You can say that to a client, and you do that when you pre-qualify a client with their real estate needs. Additionally, Dave, how can you save some time when you talk about pre-qualifying people with a lender?
For us, the biggest thing that we do, and we talk to all of our buyers and agents about this, is we basically have the ability just to get you fully underwritten ahead of time. So for every agent, you know exactly what your client has and is capable of purchasing. And not only that, but when you're ready to make an offer, if you need to close in 2 weeks, you can close in 2 weeks because we have all that information already done. So they're underwritten, they're ready to go. And all that they need at that point is title and appraisal. So if we need to close quickly, we can close quickly. And the nice thing is that, this is all going to have to get done at some point anyway. So why not be proactive? You as the agent know exactly what's going on. The buyer knows exactly what's going on, and myself as a lender know. And so all of a sudden, the idea of kind of like you said, shopping in Cherry Creek for 400,000 is not possible. And it's like, oh, well, here's actually what you qualify for. Here is how much you qualify for. Maybe what you thought a purchase price of 400,000 meant on a mortgage is different, and now maybe you're willing to go higher, or maybe you recognize that your search needs to be modified a little bit. But getting everyone underwritten ahead of time as often as possible is a huge game changer for us and for agents, because again, then there's no hiccups. We know exactly what they qualify for, and again, if we need to close in 2 weeks, we'll close in 2 weeks because there isn't anything left other than title and appraisal.
Yeah, I gotta tell you guys, everything Dave says is absolutely right. And even if your lender does not do a TBD underwrite, which is what Dave is talking about, you probably should not be referring business to them. So one of the reasons why we love Proper Rate is because this is what they do all the time. It saves us so much trouble as real estate agents if you have a client who does this for 3 reasons. One, yeah, from a lending perspective, Dave needs to make sure that all of the standards and underwriting conditions, all that stuff are satisfied. He needs to make sure the underwriters are okay. So yeah, it helps us go through that process. Okay, that's totally cool. Everyone knows that. Great. What's something else that helps you do? Number one, it helps you make super competitive offers, right? So like if you're already through the TBD underwrite, it allows you to close or shorten your closing time from 45 or 30 days, typically down to 15 or 20, because at that point, like Dave said, you've already done everything. You just need to order the appraisal and go. So if you ever need to just be more competitive on a timeline, a TBD underwrite will help you do that and maybe save your client some money because you can just close faster than everyone and say, we're already through the process, right? And then lastly, it saves you just a shit ton of time and like frustration, right? Because like you're going to know, you're not going to have a client going through, oh yeah, like my lender's working on all my stuff. Like, oh, my budget's still here. I don't know. And it's going back to the same thing, right? Like I would say that's the cross between the real estate pre-qualification and the lender pre-qualification, when he's trying to do the right thing, but doesn't know. And you waste all that time while the lender's still trying to get everything together, right? So just do the TB underwrite. Proper Rate is an amazing partner. They do that for you. There are some other lenders that will as well. Only work with lenders who can do that. So in addition to saving yourself some time with respect to working with clients who are only legitimate and will actually close, there's some other resources that our team employs to make more money per deal. Because the way we view it is we don't want agents on our team making less than $100,000 a year. Why would you be in this business as an independent contractor with all this stress, giving up your weekends, if you're not going to make 6 figures a year? It doesn't make sense, right? So at 6 figures a year, your time, right, is going to be worth about $50 an hour. So one of the ways to think about making more money per deal is if there's an activity that costs you less than $50 an hour, pay someone to do it because you're going to make the difference. If it costs you more than $50 an hour, you should do it because then it makes sense for you to do it because you effectively would be paying yourself, right? There's some amazing services like Showami where you can pay $40 to have someone show up and show a client a couple homes, maybe $100 for 3. Let's think about how much time that'll take you normally because you got to like leave your day, drive down, show the homes, drive back, get back into your day. It's not just 2 or 3 doors. It's really 2 or 3 hours around the 2 or 3 showings. So to pay someone $40 or $80 and save you 3 or 4 hours of time, that is a no-brainer if you're trying to make $100,000 a year. Email templates are a huge thing. So as you're going through transactions, saving your emails, like drafting them, just copy pasting. We actually created software that below. It's called MyTC. And there's a website link to mytcapp.com if you guys want to check it out. So my team runs all of our transactions on a system that will basically do everything for you. So if you want, you just click a button and say go. It sends out the emails, it sends out the attachments, and it just does everything for you. Lastly, and this is something a lot of people do, hire a virtual assistant. So they cost around $300, $400 a month. It might sound like a lot of money, but they can do some stuff that like you do not want to spend all your time doing. So if you want to have them pull lists, if you want to have them go through public record, if you want to have them like find addresses, find phone numbers, like do all this stuff, you pay them like $5 an hour to do this stuff. So all the grunt work that like you can teach someone to do, hire a virtual assistant, pay them $350. You can go off and do the value add stuff, do the happy hours, do the closings, do the fun stuff. Let a virtual assistant do all the boring stuff. Cool. I'm a little bit over, but are there any questions right now on that section? Okay, great. Lastly, so one of the other ways to make more money in your buyer business is physically to spend less time working, right? The less time you work, the more time you have to do other stuff. So one way we do that is with a gifting system that we've honed over the last few years that allows us to stay in touch with the client, build a great relationship, and not come off as super cheesy. So one of the bigger issues that we've found with gifting is that people do not make good decisions. So like they'll always show up with the same cutting board. They'll show up with a bottle of champagne with no thought, or then they'll just, it's just whatever, right? That's not what we do. When you sign an agency agreement, you get a gift from us because we're so thankful that you chose us and we don't need you to close for us to be thankful. Like we're just going to give you a gift because you signed up with us. Once you get past your inspection, we're going to send you another gift because that's a huge benchmark, right? If your client gets past inspection, they're so thrilled because like the hard part, because they're already pre-qualified with Dave, is already over, right? So let's gift them. Let's get them super excited about closing once they get past inspection and give them a gift. And yeah, you give them a closing gift, but you make it thoughtful. Right? You don't just show up with a bottle of champagne or a cutting board and say, here you go, I'll talk to you never, right? Come up with some thoughtful gifts, tailor it to your client. And if you do this, you can spend less money, per client process. And if you do it thoughtfully over multiple parts of the transaction, you can actually get better relationships, better referrals, and save money doing it all the time. Lastly, what we would say is go back to this kind of real estate network that we told people to create in the first place. And that is create this kind of personal niche. So for example, I'm a former finance guy, so my network tends to be attorneys, financial advisors, real estate developers, and other people that like spreadsheets because we're all just spreadsheet nerds, right? Matt is a former Navy guy. So as you can imagine, he has a huge database and a huge network of military people, whether they're, recruiters or officers or other enlisted guys that he was with. Like Matt is owning the military network in Colorado, right? So think about what is your personal niche? What is your thing? Like what's a group of people, whether it's professional, personal, who knows, like whatever, like who are your people, right? Find your people and train them to give you referrals, right? So go to your intramural groups. I don't know, like go to meetup groups, go find trust and estate lawyers, go find family attorneys, go find accountants, go find LOs like Dave, go find other real estate professionals who can send you referrals. And that's a great way to spend less time working, because if they're sending you leads, that means you don't need to spend time finding them. And that means you get to spend less time working. Matt, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, it's really finding that niche though. And once it gets going, it just snowballs after one, and it just grows and grows and grows. That Jared, like I said, I was a recruiter before this, and my recruiting network brings in so many people per year. So I get to talk to quite a few people, and coincidentally, some of them work with me, some of them don't, but it happens, and it's a snowball effect. And then once they know somebody else, it just goes from there.
It's all about at bats, right? I mean, you're not gonna hit the ball every single time you step up to the plate, but the more time you step up to the plate, the more times you're gonna get on base, right?
Correct.
Awesome. Hey, well, everyone, this is pretty much the main content for what we've had right now. So I want to just open this up to questions. I mean, we try to end a few minutes early in case you guys have them. And then obviously, Dave, before maybe we open the floor up to questions, is there anything else you want to share around kind of what you guys are doing at Proper Rate, or some things that maybe you're seeing people be successful for as rates go up and buyers maybe get a little bit more nervous about, this market shift that we're in right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing right now with rates, kind of what we've seen over the last couple of months, is they're starting to level off and normalize. So I think people can kind of expect that, where rates are today is probably where they're going to kind of hover for a little while. And what we keep telling clients is that, if you're looking to buy, now's a great time. And kind of like you said, Jared, it's, you actually have the ability to go view a house, or maybe view it twice. You don't have to weigh every, contingency, because you actually, have a little bit of say in what's going on now. So from the lending side of things, we're kind of really just pushing, let's get you underwritten. Let's get that just out of the way. So you can really enjoy the home buying experience. And I think now, kind of with, where the market's going and kind of what's happening, that it doesn't have to be this, I saw a picture on Google and I'm ready to make an offer. It's, we can actually talk about it, and we can, use our agents, and their strengths to help us get a great offer in, knowing that, as a lender, we're going to support you in any way that we can. And, whether that's, through marketing, we can easily help out with marketing. If it's, generating leads or whatever it is that you're looking for, that's what we're here to help out with. So I mean, my main thing is, really trying to assist the agents, assist you guys, to make your business grow and make it just run smoother.
That's awesome, man. And I second everything you just said. So I really appreciate it. Awesome. Well, at this time, that's kind of the main material that we have for you guys. So we've got a few people in the room. Is there anything that we can help, or any questions that we can answer, or maybe anything that we touched on that you guys would like us to clarify a little bit further? We've got a few minutes, and we're happy to take the time for you if you want. Maybe people are thinking. All right. Cool. Awesome, Matt. Well, hey, before we break, Matt, is there anything else that you want to share? Any other tips or suggestions for people as they're kind of going through the market right now?
It's shoot your shot, just like Dave's quote back there says. If you don't do it, it's not gonna happen. And in the last couple of months, I've shot my shot, when I could, and it's turned out really great for clients, and even seeing some clients get homes that are appraised well above their asking. So don't be afraid to just go in there this market and try something and get a deal done, because there are people out there that want to make these deals work, especially these sellers that have been sitting on the market for 50, 60, 70 days, even 100 days out there, which is mind-boggling to me. But shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. Love it, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for your coming in and hanging out with us for a few minutes. Dave, thank you so much for your support and putting this together, and everything you do for us, our clients. Shelby, thank you again for everything you've done as well. Guys, if you have any questions or if anything you want to follow up with, here's our contact information. That's our phone number. That's our main group email address. If you want to chat with us about stuff we're talking today, other problems you're having, you want to talk about what it takes to be on our team, we're happy to talk about it and meet with you whenever you want. So good luck to everyone who's out there, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.